The bass, I spent a long time trying to get this locked in with the kick here. Where's my kick at? Really trying to get that hit of that transient, you know, an extension. So this was a big thing when I lowered the top end of the kick and just getting the bottom, just like I lowered the bottom end of the bass so it could really like lock like a puzzle piece. So I use my bass plugin because it's the greatest bass plugin ever made. No bias here at all. Allow me to make fun of myself. I love this plugin. But anyways, so I limited the crap out of the bottom. He smacks it pretty hard, right? So I limit the bottom, and the top is pretty heavily limited too. Here we go, this is it. Kick below the bass. And then I went nuts on EQ. So let's take a look at the before. Sounds good, but it doesn't quite lock, right? So if we get rid of this stuff, let's turn all of this stuff off and try to get this locked in here. Better, you tighten up the low mids, it hit the punch of the kick and the punch of the bass sound better together. See, it's a little muddy. Now it locks. Now let's get the top end. It's a little bit, I want to clean this up, and this is probably more like a guitar move. It's a little bit less ratty. A little smoother on top, and then the bottom end. Still felt the bottom was a little bit too loose, so what did I do? Just shelved it out a little bit. See, now the bass is too big and it eats too much of the punch of the kick. Listen. Now you can really feel the punch of the kick, and it sounds like the bass and the kick are hitting synergistically. So that's what gets me excited. Let's take a look at this EQ. Okay, so this here was definitely like a guitar move or something, like when I was sitting there with the guitars and I needed to find like the right top end. So it's subtle. So let's get the guitars in here and kind of go fishing and see how some of these moves on the top end kind of play out against each other. Because like one of the things I go on and on and on about when I try to teach mixing is look at the top of the frequency spectrum is you've got a bunch of different things competing. You've got the top of the bass, the top of the guitar, the vocal range, right? And the cymbals all kind of in the same area. And you have to take those four, at the top of the kick and snare, right? You got to take those 6 elements. Yeah, that's 6, yeah. I'm glad I can still count at my age. You take all those 6 elements and you got to move them around and interchangeably, you know, like put things on different sides of each other. Like, for example, maybe the bass is here and the top of the guitar is here and the top of the vocals here, but I switch the guitar and the bass, or maybe the opposite, or bring the vocal down here. Or it's hard to do this with my fingers, but I experiment with that a lot when I mix because I'm seeing where the best sources of energy are. Like the top of the kick is here. Now the bass feels like it's locked in really good, but it feels weird on the guitars and the vocals. But, you know, should I move the kick up or should I leave the bass in the kick and move the vocal range there? So I kind of dip certain ranges out of frequencies to make room for others. So if we take a listen with the guitars here, check it out. So just without these EQs on. Oh wait, sorry, I have even more EQ on. Let's not jump the gun, hold on. So that's sounding good. Now I have a bass bus here where I have a couple of EQs and I've got some max bass. Okay, so let's see what I did here. So let me take all this off. Yeah, there we go. So you hear how mid-rangey that is? Too loose, right? It's too loose. So as I get all this stuff in now it fits like a glove. Okay, so let's get rid of this. I'm just trying to go back through my thought process. Let's take a look at this EQ. So this was a guitar move here. Snaps with the top of the kick better. The max bass is there to add like just extra rumble, even though it's kind of already built into my bass plugin. Locks it tighter, and then on this EQ we've got more top and less upper mid here. That's sounding better. It was kind of sounding like, you know, again, I needed to make some room for the guitars. We had a lot of frequency information here in the guitar, and it's masking that. Notice how much tighter that is with the bass than guitars. It was just like move a little bit of this out, add a little bit of this in, and let the guitar fill this in. Now I got even more zealous with this. Okay, so I pulled out, okay, probably would have started off like a process like this. I probably would have tried to tighten it up a little bit more. That punch is so nice. So I probably just swept that frequency and found it. And that additional drop in sub bass right here really makes that tight. Open up some top end for the guitar here. More relaxed, and then a little bit here. So the frequencies aren't so much important. Like I'll just move around and be like, you know, if I was doing this from scratch, I would, I don't want to ruin anything, but I would just go grab a band and then be like, all right. As I sweep, I'm listening. Like if it's up here, does it play good with the kick? Is it too much? If I pull some down as opposed to boosting some, how does it make the kick sound? If I boost some over here, how does it make the guitar sound? How does it make, you know, just listening to things against each other and seeing how they interact and react. So I can see I obviously chased a bunch of EQ and I started mixing and I was like, oh, it needs a little bit more. And I got more into the mix. I'm like, oh, it needs a little bit more. I need the bass to cut out a little bit more here. And I'll add another EQ and, you know, and that's kind of how this type of process happens. It's kind of like building and stacking. Like you get it one direction, you massage it, you chisel it down a little bit, start working on the fine details, and you get it. So there's my bass.